Of course there's, are you ready?
We're ready, do it.
Wait, are you telling me that trustees are
Out of control?
um,
No.
are
I'm not at all,
socializing
no,
and
not,
having
not
fun?
for, not,
I'm
not
calling
for
this
5
meeting to order. 7
Been
o'clock.
gavelled.
You want to do the roll?
Oh, there you go.
What is that?
That's got it.
Beckwith,
Here.
Caldwell,
Here.
Dio,
Here.
Farca Pisi,
Here,
Kotsinis, absent, Nimi,
Here.
Sheldon.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Here's George.
Okay, so
Oh.
he's present.
Just
say
George,
George,
say here.
present.
Kotsinis.
Okay.
Technically not.
Pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning.
Just a brief reminder, down this hallway, to the left of the reading area, then the washrooms and the exit sign. Just in case there's an emergency, please leave an eye out so the paramedic can operate. Thank you, have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, consent. Anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to remove A.
Anything else?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items B through G.
I'll second that. Discussion?
Yay, developer donation.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay, how about,
Just a roll call is all I would like on that.
on the,
Since-
yeah.
Yeah, since I
Yeah,
wasn't here.
since you weren't at the meeting, yeah.
Right.
Okay, let's go ahead and do a roll call. Or, well, first we need a motion. You want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the secretary report for the regular meeting of July 19th.
Okay, I'll second that. Now, is there any discussion?
I do have a question. Since I was not there, should I abstain?
That's why he
That's
removed
what
it, because he wasn't either. Yeah,
That's the usual.
that's the way to do it. And since he couldn't, you can't abstain, when it's on the consent, he removed it. Okay, the minutes.
Okay.
And so I'm sorry, what is your question?
The minutes are
Were removed, right.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do a roll call on it,
Okay, very good.
okay? Okay, go ahead.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Caldwell,
Abstain?
Farca Pisi,
Abstain.
Sheldon,
Aye.
Dio,
Abstain.
Nimi,
Aye.
Beckwith.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay. Okay, President's report is on page 25. Questions? All right, how about anyone else for the report?
I don't know if this is the right time or not, but I'll give it to you if you guys want.
Okay.
I was in the men's room, standing up, if you will, and there was a gentleman standing next to me. And he got the first place ticket, so he's washing his hands. And he can't get the sensor to function because he's not placing his hand correctly. So, as I am washing my hands, he watches how I do it, and it works. And he comments on a couple of things. Main entrance opens electronically, handicap accessible. Ramp, handicap accessible. Doors to the bathroom, not. But we can have automatic soap dispensers. And then we came out, and one of the other library employees was telling them about how we automated with the beautiful blue machines and could one book, more than one book be done? Because you can go to people, it's 6, 7, 25, whatever. And they go, no, you just have to space it, and it'll happen. And then you're not, saying you enjoyed the library, and into the main, you went.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you. Okay, correspondence, is there any? No? Okay. Public comment? No public comment? Okay, committee reports are 27 and 28, and then the B and G one is at your places if you want to take a second to read that. It's pretty short. Questions, comments on any of those?
And on the announcements for the Bikers for Books, it's mentioned there in the parade, they rode in the parade. Any word on participation for the restaurant?
Sue could probably answer that best.
There was pretty good interest in the parade. People were asking for flyers. The ride really depends on weather. So if it's a great day, we'll have bikers. If it's not, we'll have some bikers, but the fair weather friends won't. Yeah. But I think there's quite a bit of interest of people not having motorcycles or cars in the ride and just coming for the after lunch and
Is
dinner.
that- Do we have a list of participants, biker game at this point?
No, we don't.
Okay.
The Nimi biker game.
Hmm?
The Nimi biker game. Pretty rough.
I'll just add to that and say we walked in the parade, Sue and I with Ryan. And, everyone, when I've walked before, they're always very nice and wave to the, library and the bookmobile. But when you have 3 bikers there going vroom, vroom, it really gets a lot of attention. Positive attention. We got a lot of positive attention, I thought, more than normal,
Absolutely,
didn't you?
yeah.
Well,
It's
that's
great, it's fun.
A great banner also, Jan, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was really great. And we started picking out all the people who were wearing motorcycle
Harley shirts we
t-shirts.
give
And,
them.
we would run out and
But
give
then some
them
would come and
flyers.
ask us for a flyer.
Yeah,
so-
some
that's
did.
cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Not about the destination.
Right, yeah, so sit there.
Okay, you're up.
I just want to add to what's in the report. It was a big weekend for us. We also had the Point grand opening. Most of you were there. It was, I think, a great event.
It was.
We had 2 staff members participate in the ribbon contest. Although we didn't bring home the trophy, I think that they said they learned a lot the first time. They didn't finish. They were 7th, but they were really within, I think, a half pound or something of the first place team. So we may bring that home next year. We'll see. A few ounces, excuse me.
May the force be with you.
They must not have mopped up the tray.
That's what the thing.
Yeah, so they learned some tricks, and also the parade really was fantastic. I mean, it was fun to march last year. Probably a little more fun this year just because of the motorcycles, and there
It
were
was really
people
fun.
that usually the library gets a very positive reaction, as Joe mentioned,
Yeah.
but there were even a few more people that were very, very enthusiastic, and
It just made you
fun.
laugh.
It
I was
fun.
laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
It was fun. Any other questions for Ryan on this part? Okay, let's move on to new business then. So our first is policy 3020 on page 37. Anyone like to make a motion? I'll move that policy 3020 be approved as presented.
I'll second that.
Discussion? I want to say in the discussion that, that section 504, I thought was awfully low on the page, and I asked Jean if she would move it to page 3, just for readability, not change any content, but it's running into the footer. So when you get your copy next month in a packet, it'll be shifted a page.
504.
Yeah, sorry. That's right. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay. So 3023, this is at your places. You should have two
Actually,
versions, right?
It does.
Is there a
Everybody-
problem with a
Here it
page
is.
return that was in here? Is that
I
why
got
page
223.
3 is blank on one
One has
version?
comments and one is the final version.
Yeah, it's,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
so
I
there are
didn't
two, we
notice that.
provided two versions. There's the,
The track changes
change
and
it-
the,
right. And I
what
think the
it'll
track-
look like.
yeah, the track change version has that extra
Yeah,
page
it looks
through.
like it has an extra,
Yeah.
yeah, like, looks like there's a hard
Probably
page.
page break.
Right.
Page
And then nothing,
break in
yeah.
there.
So the cover memo explained this, why this was on here.
Do we think we would really get $900 for an iPad replacement? Hmm?
It could be more than that at that point, the ones we have are.
Oh, I know they're worth that much, but I mean, recovering $900 from the paper.
Would not.
Mm-hmm. Put them on a payment plan. Yeah, you can recover it.
Anyone like to make a motion on this one?
You Also, just to note, when you look at the replacement charges, it also involves the staff time involved. So with those iPads, if one were to be lost, you're looking at, adding the apps again. I guess you back the apps up and you restore it, but still, there's some of that is built into that figure as well.
Can we force the collection on that?
I suppose it is.
Yeah, I'm just like with, not unlike, library overdue fines, we do work with this company, Unique Management, so if someone does not pay their library bills, Bob, it does get escalated to a debt collection agency at some point.
Do we have the ability to charge people's credit cards for fees now?
Yes.
Can't they just sign something, whatever they can pay a month, that we automatically charge their credit card? It's $50 a month for 18 months,
I mean, I guess theoretically we could, we don't have that in place now, but,
but we could.
I mean, we could, I
So you
suppose.
set them up on a payment plan and they'll be able to pay it.
Right. I mean, clearly, if this, let's hope this doesn't happen, because these iPads aren't going anywhere. But in the event that it did, clearly we would work with the party
When
involved.
someone checks out an iPad, are they aware at that moment that there's a $900 fine if they lose it?
What's the
I mean,
thought process
Not
on there?
available for
Right?
checkout, are they?
Yeah, they're actually, these aren't available, they're gonna take them from the desk, or we're gonna take them over to the table to set them up with the Osmo. The
Oh.
other two iPads are tethered to the arm in the Coco's coat. So it shouldn't be
Which really shouldn't be an issue.
I mean, something could
They have a
happen, but when they're
security-
right with them, and they're secure, they're gonna have everything on them, they have a label and say right on them what the replacement cost would be.
So the likelihood of someone being charged that fine is remote at best.
If I can ask, this is a little unusual. I mean, we're talking about a device that isn't checked out, doesn't leave the library. We're talking about replacement costs for it. Wouldn't this be something that would be covered under an insurance policy? I know that the schools, for example, have insurance policies for their iPads with a fraction of the cost of the device as the co-payment if it's lost or damaged.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we don't on those, and I think that's the norm for libraries. I don't know of any libraries with their tablets that they get the insurance policy, because those things are pricey. So I think, but I correct me if I'm wrong, did we didn't get an insurance, did we? Because it's just, in my experience, it hasn't been cost effective to do it. I mean, the schools is a little bit different, because you have all the students that have the devices, they're taking them home, there's more wear and tear. Typically, libraries with iPads, it's going to be this in-house scenario, so it just, the cost benefit just doesn't really calculate.
Okay, let's assume that somebody has their covered coffee at a computer station, and it gets knocked over and manages to trash a keyboard, or even a computer. We don't charge them, do we? I'm not seeing the difference between the iPads in Coco's Cove and the computers.
Good point.
Yeah, no, you have raised a valid point.
Everything else we have listed here is something that people check out. These are not circulating items.
It's true.
So maybe
Yeah.
we
That's
need
very true.
a-
So if you wanted to take it off, that's.
a damage fee. Do we have that for anything?
Well, we're gonna be circulating laptops, so
well,
it would be appreciated if you want that change, that it's in-house, we don't go ahead and do that.
Yeah, and I think though there still is precedence where if something happens, for example, we had a group come in and they violated our policy and they got some material on one of the carpets in the meeting rooms, and we asked them to pay for cleanup of this mess that they made. So it's not unprecedented. I still think if there was a situation where through negligence of a patron, we could still try to recover.
I agree, but I think we're drawing a distinction there. In one case, you're suggesting that in the event of negligence or not following our existing policies,
Mhm.
damage occurs, we would naturally request that that damage be compensated. I don't think we need that in our circulation policy or our fines and
I
fees
agree.
policy.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Since the iPad doesn't circulate exactly, and besides that, are you necessarily going to know who, let's assume that one of them isn't working. Are you necessarily gonna know how or why or when?
No, we're not. No, I think I agree. I mean, I agree with your sentiment here. I think.
And those you will, because they have to leave their card with us, to use them to work with the Osram, which is the system that's gonna go on top of it. So with those, they actually check out the rest of the equipment that goes with it. If we can't find an arm that will hold for a while, the actual iPad, we will be handing that to them too. So they're checking it out with their card, but it's not leaving the building.
So maybe.
Well, they sign up for the computer
Right.
with their card, they're kind of check the computer out for an hour.
I would think our focus here ought to be making sure that we're protecting the devices so that they're
So that-
difficult to damage, not that we're worrying ahead of time about how much it will cost the patron to do so. This just doesn't seem the right direction. Not sure if anybody else is following me here.
And I'm also thinking, if, for instance, somebody actually just tripped and fell and broke one of the computers or a monitor, we wouldn't, if it's a total accident, trip, I don't know that we would request that they pay for the monitor. So if the iPad is damaged in something that is total an accident, not negligence or malicious damage, I'm not sure that it's right to ask someone to pay for that. To be,
It's almost like the cost of doing business.
yeah, and it was paid for with tax money. So, it belongs to all the taxpayers in a sense, but if it was not malicious or intentional, or even negligent, I'm not sure that I'm comfortable saying, hey, you owe us $900 for that,
But I think even at the schools, because there is some children do know how to abuse these items pretty well.
Right.
And so the tech department has to take them and clean them up or whatever, and they do pay a nominal fee for that. So maybe, I don't think we'd ever have to get the $900 off of the replacement. And I'm thinking, look at .201 and see, because that just talks, and maybe we need to put in computers with that too, because that just talks about books.
Do we retain the right to refuse to let them check out the equipment?
I mean,
I-
the record was blocked, I suppose, if they didn't have library privileges, but for the most part, we're not going to prohibit anyone, as long as they have good status with their library card.
And I'm with George, they're gonna be used in a supervised
Right.
setting, so I don't think, but chances are they can mess them up somehow, so they have to be
Well, you can't really refurbish the iPads is the problem. You can replace a broken screen, but that's about the extent of what you can do with them. They're not, because of their design, serviceable items.
Okay, so what do people think of the idea of adding to or making another article similar to fees of replacement and repair of electronic devices?
Might have to be included somewhere else in damages and negligence and a different policy. I'm thinking maybe behavior or something, or use of the library, where it talks.
Except it is a fee, and it is a fee.
Fine, and a fee.
Technology
I think
use
that-
policy, maybe, technology.
Oh. What does everyone think of that?
What was the?
She's
full
saying put it
definition?
in the technology policy and not in here.
I think that the technology policy should be a line about for damage caused through negligence or, malicious use or, whatever, that.
Malicious or negligent use of technology which results in
Yeah, the
damage.
C.
C
fines and-
3023, okay.
Yeah.
So the consensus is to send this back to the drawing board, correct?
Yep.
We haven't had a motion.
Is it possible to just make a quick change now instead of going all the way back to policy?
Is there any?
We can look it up, but the one thing I would like to have from you tonight is that if we're not gonna charge for the launch pad, we would like to introduce those next month, as we told everybody at the.
So let's,
I think if we strike the iPad from here for now,
You can strike iPad, launch
Okay,
pad,
and
out.
strike iPad and send this back to the policy
the Launchpad and
committee.
Osmo, I assume those are devices that are, describe how they are used.
This is the launch pad. And they're gonna
Basically
stay
the
in-house
same.
too, as is the Osmo. So if you wanted to,
And you have to turn your card in to use them.
Ryan's gonna tell you more about this.
This was gonna be new and notable, but.
So we're moving that
Yeah.
on
It's
now.
about the-
Right, so actually let me hand out this
Oh.
little article that explains these, which I think is pretty good, because, long story short, so I'll give you talk a little bit about circulating tablet PCs in libraries. When I was at the Dovertown Library, when the iPad was introduced there, we purchased some iPads and we introduced them to the public, and that was great. But it was hard to maintain them, keep the apps up to date, configure them. It's a very small library, so it was easy enough to do there. But for most public libraries, that's challenging. So this device is basically optimized for library use. You can see it has the rubber case, so if you drop your iPhone, you might be nervous, but if someone were to drop this on the ground, it's pretty well protected. And it has apps that are designed, for education. Literacy apps, math, science, and these are easy for us to maintain. We don't have to send these to IT every 3 weeks to keep them updated. So they're basically tablets designed for libraries, and that Washington Post article goes into some of these details. So the idea behind these is these will stay in-house, and starting this up right now,
And
Yeah,
you have to give your library card in order to use one of those?
Mhm.
And is there any kind of security if it left the building?
Yes, it's on there, it's underneath, and they're gonna be handed a user agreement, not necessarily to sign it, but to read it.
I can pass this around. So, you can
So
look at the different apps
with
and-
that, that's basically the same as an iPad.
Except much
That's the
lower in
launch.
cost.
Right, but the same kind of
Same
use.
concept,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna question this right now again. We've had the Nooks actually circulating for a while. How is this different?
How are those different?
Why wouldn't we have this circulating properly instead of just in the library?
The launch pads?
Yeah.
we wanted them to use it as a makerspace. Each one is
Right.
different. They have different potential, and so we
Okay.
wanted to introduce them that way, see how they go. They're about $145, $160 a piece without everything else, so we wanted to see how they went, so that we would also know which ones to purchase if we did decide to circulate more.
So
Which one was
would you call this a pilot program then?
Yes, but it could end up just being this. It could just, I mean, if they're, I mean, they seem very popular at the event on Saturday. But, it's circulating an item that's $145, but we circulate the playways, which are about 95.
Yeah, and since it's new, the consensus was just to see how it went. So that's the idea of keeping them in-house for now. Because the thing is, when you introduce something new, you can always expand privileges, but if you were to circulate them initially and it turns out, oh, this is a problem, we're getting the back cracked and broken, it would be hard to reverse that. So that's the philosophy behind the introduction of the service.
My
How
thought
many
would be
launch
that
pads
we
do
write
we
the
have?
policies around what we eventually plan to do.
But we're not sure, George. In other words, one of the things that we bought the launch pads for was we want to have things for that age children to do here. So, and so that more of them could use them. So that's why we didn't feel we were going to circulate them. I'm not saying for sure we will, but we could, I don't know.
And Noreen, how many
We
launch
have
pads do
like
you have?
9.
Okay.
Plus they change, as we're looking at them, some are better than others, but they are all on different topics. So if a child came in and they wanted to play with it for 2 hours and they didn't like that one, then we get it right back and they'd be able to try a different one. And it wouldn't be out for 2 weeks or whatever.
And some interesting, like let's say a user does some weird things on them, it's very easy to reset, there's a reset button, and they just go back to the way they were configured originally, so.
So my question is, do we want them as replacement charge? I think it's in the same category as an iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's.
what she said was take it, all three of them off. Isn't that what you said,
Yes.
Noreen? Yeah. So that would just
If we're going by
leave,
the concept that they're staying in-house for use,
yes.
then I think that makes.
Okay.
So that would be no change to this policy at all.
Correct.
So we're done.
Yeah.
And then if, in living with it, if it turns out that you want to make another suggestion, then we'll go with that. You know, we can edit that. Is everyone comfortable with that? Okay, let's
So
move
we
on.
can go ahead and.
Well, time
Yes, and
out.
then you
Have a
can, then you can bring
motion.
them out.
Wait
No,
a
there was no
minute, wait a
motion.
minute.
I think we still need to talk about the other policy and what we do for malicious or.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
negligent
looking at
use.
one of them now.
But that's not on the agenda,
That's
and
not
we
on the
will, we can,
agenda.
if you want to put that on
So
committee of the
it's-
whole
yeah,
for
let's
policies,
put it
we
on
should do
committee.
that, I think. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, so 3035, if you recall, was the one that was proposed to be eliminated, and all the concepts were already covered in 3007, which we just passed on the consent. Isn't that, was that the right number? Sorry.
I
Yeah.
move that policy 3035 be eliminated.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay. Parking lot.
Okay, so hopefully everyone's had a chance to review the updated capital plan, which admittedly is a little rough right now. Once the capital needs assessment has been completed, we'll have a better idea on some of these projections. I think that we have a pretty good idea anyway. And what this does is gives a snapshot of anticipated capital needs versus funds that we know we have to address these needs. And of course, if you look, unfortunately, there's which shouldn't initially be a surprise because we've been talking about this, there is a deficit. That being said, this is a very conservative very, very conservative estimate of revenue. We're assuming nothing else goes into special reserve fund, which historically hasn't been the case. Usually we do put money in the special reserve fund each year. It doesn't account for expendable trust fund money that we could use for capital projects. It doesn't account for developer donations. So I know there's at least $30,000 in developer donations that we'll be receiving in the next couple of fiscal years. So do keep that in mind when you look at it. It's alarming when you look at this and you think, oh my gosh, we have all these capital projects and we don't have the money to pay for all of them. We know this. And the other thing too with capital projects, just like we did last year, the board does every year when you do the budget, you analyze these and you decide, is this something we really need to do? Do we really need to pay for this project? Is it a want or a need? Is it something that can wait a few years? So, with that, we're back to the idea of the parking lot and what should be done. Should money be used immediately to have the parking lot repaved, or do we try to get by for 2-3 years with the tarring sealing project, which would be $7,500? And Kevin is here and can talk more about those different options and what they entail. If you have questions for Kevin.
I'd like to know what his opinions are. So then we're starting with the 17-18 budget, that's a year from now.
Right, next year's budget.
First I have to say, I'm thrilled that we've got this.
Oh, good. Well, this is just the start, Andrea. It's
Right.
progress.
But I mean, this is what we've been pushing for, and it's nice to see
Oh,
that.
good. Well, thank
I
you.
mean, as daunting as it is, at least we've got forewarned we can't make a plan if we just get surprised every year, so.
That's right.
My compliments to you in getting it done.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate
At
that.
least, to the point that it is now, it's much better than what we had before, which was nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. Well, I thank my team, obviously, for work on this as well, including Doug and Kevin, so. And really all the management team.
So when we talked about this at the committee, the whole meeting, we were saying that it would buy us a few more years if we just did $7,500 for the restriping and the seal coating. But if we go 3 years, we go from 2017 to 2018, that puts us into 2020-21, where we're already a very heavy capital needs that particular year. You're showing $240,000 under that column. So,
Yeah.
So if we push that forward 3 years, are we adding another $75,000 to that time period?
Well, that if you look specifically, Tom, and that's a good observation. The big money project there is public furniture and floor electrical in public areas for mobile users. You might argue that that's more of a want than a need. So if you were to eliminate those projects, that would make the capital projects for that year, that number would be much smaller.
Or make it a little more modest.
Or make it more
the year
modest.
before or after. It is historically when we seal parking lot, it lasts for 3 years?
Last time
My
I did
driveway
was-
doesn't.
Last time we seal coated, it was just before the 2011 project. Okay, because it was like a year and a half before that project I did it. And then, as you know, there was a portion of the front area that was redone. So typically, I mean, you try to do it, but as often with seal coating, that you probably know with your own home, it does wash off, and it also gets scraped off with snow plowing. So it is a preventative measure, but when you consider the cost, you naturally can't do it, every 2 years, because it becomes cost prohibitive. So if you were to look at the fire department and also City Hall, they haven't done theirs in some time, so typically you wait a period of time to do it. If you look at historically in what we've done with the building, how it's grown and how the parking lot has grown, there's been always some kind of parking lot construction with every build-out that we've done. We have been patching areas. I've been patching areas since, I've done two years of patching. Each time I've spent $20,000 in those patching. The last year when we did the patching for $20,000, that got us roughly 5,000 square feet of patching, okay? If you consider the size of the parking lot, roughly estimated it's about 56,000 square feet. Okay, so it's actually more costly to keep patching, obviously, because in the costs, they have staging costs and things like that, whereas if you were to naturally do a major project, you could bid it out and get costs down, things like that. So the current parking lot right now as it stands is from the '97 construction project. A good majority of it is. Now, I've patched where it's gotten really bad, usually in the seams of the center of the drive areas. That's usually where it starts. And we've done that. So I've done 2 patching projects. If you look out at the front area, you see the wheel well ruts. Okay, we all know those. I feel them when I ride my motorcycle in, and I go into park, and I'm feeling like I'm on a roller coaster. Remember that that's all from '97, so that's roughly 20 years of use, okay? Over time, and I looked historically just today in the areas that had been done, and like I said before, those areas were done because of growth, so they made sense. But so in times they were done maybe at 10 years or whenever that growth of the building took place. But now you're looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, we've gotten the use out of the parking lot, and it's getting to the point where we need to redo it. So now comes the question of when do we do that? Do we do it next fiscal year and bite the bullet? Or do we try to coast it along to when it makes more sense, financially to do it? But you're definitely gonna have to do it as a major project, because you will save more money that way than to continually try to keep patching and patching. The other factor is weather. Historically, over the course of the past 5 years, we've dealt with more freezing situations with the parking lot, and that's what makes it actually worse. Once you start getting cracking, moisture penetrates, gets underneath, freezes, raises it, and then once it lowers, that's when you get all the braking. Once that starts occurring, it's very difficult to control it and try to stop. You can't stop it. So that's kind of the situation that we have in still some areas. So depending upon what happens season to season, these areas will only get worse. They won't get any better. So if you resurface the whole area, you eliminate those cracks, and naturally, you now have a longer period of time of longevity.
Wait, did it, the 75,000 is for the entire?
No, the
150,000.
the entire parking lot, you'd be looking at anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 to do the whole thing.
So
The
75
and
is for the front.
75 is the concept of splitting it into 2 projects.
Okay.
Or we start
So
at the
we
end
deal
of the
with
year and it
front,
goes over
and
into
then
the
we go
next,
to back.
right? So we start at the end of one fiscal year and it lapses over into the next fiscal year. So the contractor, it's one project.
Right.
I
But
think
we're-
you have to be careful about making it one project. I don't know, we have to check into that, going from fiscal year to fiscal year. But you'd be looking at
2 phases of
2
one
phases
project.
of the project,
Okay.
is what, yeah, that you can say. Or look at it from that standpoint.
So Ryan, if we decided to go ahead and do it next year, we wouldn't be able to do it now.
No,
We-
you don't have
So
the
it would be
funding.
in the spring.
I mean, you could vote to do it now, but you'd have to,
Weather-wise,
we'd have to
yeah.
change the,
Yeah.
well,
We can't do it now, we gotta
well,
do it
in the
now.
springtime, but when you say next year, you mean next calendar year, Sue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not fiscal year, next
Okay.
calendar.
Spring of 20,
No, spring of
17.
2018.
Spring of 17. I'm saying.
it's not in the budget of spring of 16. Fiscal year 16, 17, it's not in the budget. So you
Well,
can't do
then-
it spring of 2017.
Well,
Then it's a
time out.
no.
We're talking
We-
about spring of 2018, fiscal year 2017,
No.
2018.
Actually, we could
Mhm,
probably,
mhm.
if we wanted to put this into the 18-19 fiscal year, we could still do it
Yeah, 'cause we used to do
in
that.
May of next year. And just, if it's, as long as it extended,
Yeah, but
Well,
then that.
a little
okay,
bit.
So then it's a mute point. If we can't do it until then, we have to resurface.
If you budgeted,
I mean-
if you started planning now, if you decided to do it for next fiscal year, it'd be 17-18
Mm-hmm.
fiscal year.
That's the spring of 18.
You could do it in the fall, if we planned it.
But if we're gonna spread it over 2 fiscal years, it's the spring of 18,
If
fall
that's
of-
the case that
of-
you're talking about, yes, that's what you'd end up doing, yes.
And I'd rather
You're
do
talking
it
about-
after a winter than before a winter.
Yes, agreed, because you wanna know.
Get one more winter out of
Get
the old
one more
one.
winter out of what you've got, sure.
So you're right, I mean.
We have to
really
resurface
comes down
then,
to
because you
sill
don't even know
coating.
where to park now. I mean,
On a
it's-
resurface, do we know?
it would be crumbles.
Take down?
Well, it's
Yeah.
not gonna fall apart in
That's what I've done. in
2
some
years.
instances,
It is pretty falling
It's
apart, I
pretty
have to
bad.
say.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be
Let's talk
unusable.
about customer impact for our patrons.
Mm-hmm.
If we're redoing the entire parking lot, how disruptive is that to library operations?
No,
Well,
I
two
mean, it's-
phases.
Even if we split it into two phases, where we have half our parking gone,
Of course, it's gonna be disruptive. I mean, anytime you do a major capital
When they-
project,
But-
it's,
When they do a project like this, when we did the first repatching, which was a couple of years ago, no? 3 years ago now?
Pretty much done.
They were in and out in
Yeah.
one day.
Okay.
When they scratch it, meaning they bring in the big
Mill.
dinosaur
Grinder,
mill
yeah.
and pull it off, it goes really fast. I mean, they could literally be in and out in one day.
yeah, I know, and.
We can work around, we've done it
We've
plenty of
got-
times.
My question is, do we need to reconstruct the foundation of the parking lot itself, or are we just talking about a resurfacing?
No, I think you're talking about resurfacing.
Okay.
We've got the police station parking lot, we've got the high school parking lot, we've got the Gurnee Municipal parking lot. Everybody shares parking lots when things like this happen. And it's good, so we could definitely, would start after the high school year ended.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to echo what Kevin said. We, at my old library, we resurfaced the parking lot. It was a couple of days. We didn't lose many days of service. I mean, we were always open the whole time, but in terms of service with the parking lot, it's not going to be weeks or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've done numerous projects where we've had staff park over at the high school to allow for plenty of parking in the regular parking lot. I mean, we've done different projects where we've had to close down sections of it, namely when we did the roof project, we had to close down half the parking lot. So there's been plenty of times where we've had to redirect, the public and, make it safe for them and things like that. So, we're very accustomed to doing that. I think we can work around projects like this as well.
I'm having difficulty gauging where we're at as a group.
I was gonna suggest we're going to have that study done.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to come, it looks like the middle of September at this point, so.
So that's still in time for next year's budgeting process. And they might give us a better idea of where all of these things should fall. Because this is where you're giving this for them to start with at least.
Well, yeah, they're gonna look at everything here, the whole library, the parking lot, everything. I think the reason, Andrea, we wanted to bring it up now was because if the board decided they wanted to do the sealing, part of this, the patchwork part, then we still have time to do it before the winter. So that's why we wanted to bring it up at this time.
Well, I would be for redoing it for the big bucks, but because we can't do that for a year and a half, I think we have to resurface and
kinda do too,
restripe.
yeah.
And we need to do something
Yes,
near
yeah.
term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I wasn't really in favor of, to me, that seems crazy, let's just do it. But when I understand the timeline further, it just seems like there's no way around it.
right.
Going with the status quo for another 2 years.
Yeah, you have 3 options. Status quo, you could do the what do you call it? The
Seal coating.
The
seal
seal
coating,
and stripe.
or well, actually, those are 2 options. Status quo, and then do the big project down the road, or the seal coating.
And if we just striped and did it seal coat,
$450, just the stripe.
and what's your gut?
My gut is, I wouldn't waste it on the seal coating. That's $7,000, and that's a lot of money.
I think so
Yeah, yeah.
too.
If striping is what you're looking for, that's a
Something.
nominal cost, it's not a big deal. We can have that done. But I wanted to give you all the information, so
Okay.
I wanted to get, as much information to you guys as possible. So I'm not recommending doing the seal coating. I don't know that it's worth it, the age of what's out there.
Yeah.
It's gonna make it look nice,
Mhm.
it's gonna look nice and black, but is it really gonna save the parking lot at this point?
No.
So I would forego that and use that money more wisely. That's my recommendation.
Okay.
I would do this, if you really want the striping, I'd do the striping, but we can handle that.
Okay,
That's an easy.
I'm for the
I
striping.
move
and
that we get the
like the
parking
bowling
lot
couple.
striped ASAP.
I'll second that.
Can we do that? Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Is that on the agenda?
Would you like a motion
Yeah,
for
it's
that?
on
You
the
would.
agenda.
No, we'll
Okay.
do it, yeah.
All right.
I'm just concerned that, does what was on the agenda cover this vote?
Yeah, parking lot
Yes.
information.
Yeah, parking lot, yeah.
Yeah,
And
oh, yeah.
Potential action? Okay.
We do. Sue made a motion.
And
You
did you
seconded?
second?
Or did
I'll
I?
But it,
You did.
I did.
but it's already in the budget in terms of part of our maintenance, so
Oh, so
there's
we
no
really
vote,
don't
no
need
vote
a
is
motion.
necessary.
That's
We're
right.
definitely going to do it.
Okay,
I just rescind the motion.
I rescind my motion.
no motion. Okay.
Thank you, Kevin.
Please strike.
That won't help some people park.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're saying there is no motion.
There's no motion needed, it's covered in the budget, and we're gonna move on.
We'll wait till our needs assessment.
But we're
and-
forewarned that we have big expenses coming up in
Yeah.
2018.
Okay, Iplar, you want to say anything else? We all saw this already at committee of the whole.
I have nothing to add.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, feel free, but it's pretty standard. You guys have seen this before.
Yep.
The state is collecting data about the library, so.
Yep. Anyone want to make a motion?
I move that the Illinois Public Library Annual Report for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2016 be accepted for filing.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay.
I will mention one thing. I just want to thank everyone, a lot of library staff put in a lot of effort to do the IPLR. And Gina organizes it, puts this thing together, so my thanks to Gina, because it's a lot of work, so
Thank you, Gina.
Looks like it's challenging for the eyesight too, when I look at that. Okay, we kind of already covered new and notable.
But I did prepare something.
Oh, you did? Okay, sorry. I thought new and notable was gonna be the launch pad.
For me not knowing this, so if you're passing 3 this way and the others the other way, and there might be some for our guests as well. I made 10 altogether, so we're 7, 8, 9, there's 1 extra for them.
Can I have one for the records?
Hmm?
Can I have one for the records?
Yeah. Wait, I didn't pass 3 that way?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, well, there should be, I made 10.
Okay, then.
Here, we can share and you can have.
She has 3.
Okay,
Oh,
we're
she's
good.
got extras.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
And then extra. You need it. Sorry.
Okay, so this week's notable is the bookmobile. So our bookmobile, you've got a copy of all of the stops, and I added the time that they spend at each stop. So the bookmobile goes Monday through Thursday, and on the weekdays, it generally goes from about 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock. On Saturdays, it goes from about 9 o'clock till 9:15 to 12:40. And what's, people may not realize, the bookmobile people who drive and service all of the clients have no bathroom. They rely on the kindness of people near their stops. So.
That is that's notable.
It's kind of, there's no bathroom on it, but it's kind of difficult work conditions.
Kind of like a classroom teacher.
Can we hang
Yeah.
a porta potty off the back?
We're not gonna have that.
And they do build in some stuff
They do build in some, oh, good.
for longer.
That's good to know. Well, what's also notable is they make 42 half-hour stops, 8 25-minute stops, 1 40-minute stop, 1 35-minute stop, and 1 20-minute stop. So, people come in, get their books, and go. There's no dawdling, and I have gone to chase the bookmobile down just to experience the bookmobile several times. And everybody seems really happy to have the bookmobile in their area, and, they seem to know their patrons very well. But don't be late for the bookmobile, because you won't have enough time to browse, that's for sure. So
That's true.
just, I think it's a wonderful place that we have there. And I always considered it our other branch.
Yes,
But
branch on
I
wheels.
didn't know if the board knew how many stops the bookmobile makes. 53 stops, so they go to each place twice a month. And so when you check out a book in the bookmobile, instead of it being 3 weeks, it's a 4-week checkout, so they can return it then.
My first job, I was a bookmobile librarian, and I really just loved it. And my favorite thing was that, what you said, they know everybody really well, and I did. I knew kids would come, they were often near schools, and the kids would come right after school, and I had my peeps, and I knew what they liked to read, and I would, when I knew things would come, I would bring them out, and it was really fun. I really liked it.
Noreen was saying?
Just the other thing is that that's the evening schedule, that's the neighborhood schedule, but they also have scheduled during the day where they go to preschools, daycares, senior centers. So it's out on the road a lot.
I always see it going by way at the bookmobile. And of course, I love how it's decorated as well. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Okay, all right, suggestion, you can see what we have on for next time. Any other suggestions for next regular meeting or committee of the whole?
You added a policy for damaged electronics.
And that's
I will.
3060.
Thanks,
I just
Maureen.
found it.
Thanks.
Yeah, we have that one on there, and then, we decided we did not need to follow up on fines and fees, correct?
Actually, I think we are going to need to add an article to fines and fees about damage to electronics and, you know,
What's
what the
No, we
charges.
said- we said we-
3060 is standards of public conduct, and it has the lines in it. I think you might not even have to tweak them, I just checked it.
And it's part of the discussion anyway, so it works
Okay,
out.
great, all right, great, 3060. Okay, anything else?
Did we wanna talk about that, that email that I had sent? The new public act related to,
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. We should certainly
Okay,
look into it,
yeah,
yeah.
mhm.
Related to what?
There's basically a public act that, I need to look into the details, but basically there's the law that indicates there are some, I think some procedures in terms of, receiving money for, travel and entertainment expenses when, I don't think it's just boards, but I think it's also staff as well when you
staff
go to
and boards,
conferences
the
and.
new law that was passed last month. I happened to notice it in a news article.
And I'm sure that.
Our policies, I'm sure, cover it for staff already,
Right.
but we need to have something in place according to this for board members as well.
Yeah, and
I think that would be a
Roger
reasonable
usually sends out
policy.
memos with these types of things, so I'll follow up with him and see if he's already got something he's gonna prepare to send to his clients. Because I think there's a little bit of time, and we should act
Yeah.
swiftly, but.
Yes.
We have
yeah.
until February
Yeah.
to do something.
Right. I'm hoping we can, if we need to do, whatever we need to do can go in a policy that we already have.
Well, there is already in the there is a policy about reimbursement.
Right.
For trustees.
This requires
This-
us to set limits.
Yeah, so
And
we're
to
gonna
have a-
need to, well,
I'm pretty sure that's in the bylaws, right?
pardon?
It's in the bylaws, I think, what you're talking about.
That's where I was thinking it
I
was.
think we just have reasonable expenses right now.
So we just have to,
Yeah.
We have to set
Okay.
what those reasonable
Maybe
expenses are.
what we need
And the
is
state
to
tells
actually
us?
write a
No,
policy.
we have to come up with whatever the reasonable number is ourselves, and then any time we exceed it, there has to be a voice vote in public about it.
okay.
And there, unfortunately, I think this isn't the norm, but there are some public bodies that there are questions whether they've abused, travel to conferences and that type of thing, so.
Yeah. I don't think that's the case here, but I know we did at one time discuss if a trustee doesn't show up to an event that the library's
paid.
paid for, that they should reimburse the library.
That
Not-
is in a policy, I
We
believe.
did that, not if they change, not due to a sudden illness or
Right,
something.
right.
Okay,
Yeah,
anything
and
else?
I think we discussed that and
So we did take care of that.
I don't think it's in the policy, I think we decided that it was unenforceable.
Yeah.
We
Well,
couldn't make somebody Do
But
you,
that, at least that policy would be a good place to put this.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've ever been at risk of
Oh, no, no, no.
overspending on trustees.
Oh, no, I know that, I mean, it certainly doesn't apply to us historically, and I think there are just some isolated instances, if you look around Illinois, of some different public bodies that, you know, they've been accused of
We want to
not
be
being
above
res-
reproach.
Right, exactly, so it's, I think it's a law that makes sense based on
I'm
some
all for
things that
putting in
probably
the
happen.
policy.
Okay, any other agenda items for either one, committee of the whole or regular meeting?
Joe,
Yes.
did you say programming policy, because you mentioned?
Yes, George named that, didn't you, right? It's
Yes.
already on there, yes, he already asked for that one.
Thank you.
Okay, public forum? Okay. Announcements, yeah, you can see them all there. Bikers for Books, though, let's say that one out loud.
Let's say
Bikers for
that one
Books,
out loud.
Sunday, August 28th, 10 to
Okay,
3.
Bikes are going out at 10. Beautiful route, stops at 2 libraries to get free raffle tickets. Come back, we have great raffle prizes. We'll be selling raffle tickets there if you don't choose to go on the ride. The band comes at 1, and then it goes till 3.
I'll be there.
So,
It's a really nice venue for this event. That we have a great outdoor area there. We were there for lunch the other day, so please attend. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What
I
time
hope
is
so.
it when the bikes get back?
they should be back about 12:30.
12:30.
Depending, it's not gonna be a guided ride, it's gonna be, you're on your
Mhm.
own. So
But if
do
we
they
want to
start
get there
from
when
there
people
too?
are getting back, we should be
Yeah.
around 12:30.
Yeah.
It's gonna
start
start from
from the
there,
family.
we're gonna place directional signs throughout the route, so you'll know where to turn, so if you wanna take your car, you certainly can. Up through Twin Lakes, Salem. Trying to think back where we come from. Highway C is closed, we're still working on that leg. It's closed till October. That
Will
was
you
a nice
be on the
ride.
back of your husband's hog?
Well, I go out and place the signs early, so he'll be there. We still need a couple people, Andrea, the registration table, I'm not feeling really good about that, but,
Registration?
We
Yeah.
can use some volunteers for
Yeah.
sure.
I'm doing here, right?
yes,
Yeah.
you're passing
So-
out raffle ticket here.
I could probably do something.
That's early, that would be
Well, I
probably
live
9.
down the street.
I know, 9:30.
Okay, so you want me at Fat Man's at 9:30?
If you could do that, that'd be wonderful.
Good.
We covered the parking lot, I think we got Boy Scouts for the parking lot.
Oh, good. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So
at
do I
the
stay the whole
yesterday, yeah.
time or just show up?
Very
at 9:30
resourceful.
and leave and come back?
You'd stay, there's gonna be a
We
lapse.
didn't get the Boy Scouts, I'm sorry.
We did
Oh,
not.
we didn't?
We worked on it at the parade.
Right, Donna emailed today saying
Oh.
that, it wasn't approved.
You know what,
Okay.
Sue, I can be there at 9:30, you call and tell me exactly what you want
Okay,
me to do
all
in
right,
between.
okay.
And do remind me.
I will. Thank you.
Anyone else have
Something
any?
At the memorial?
Yes,
Bolton Memorial?
yes, we'll drive by this library, get raffle tickets, and then we'll go by the Bolton Memorial, and there'll be someone there to hand another raffle ticket.
Is that rather than the license?
Yes. I think Sarah has that. And she'll need somebody else, but I think we have that covered.
Anyone else have any other announcements? Anyone want to move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Ooh.
7:58.
Under an hour.
Nice.
Not bad.
Not bad.